Hey guys, it's Mr. Mini Painter here, and today I'm painting Albus Dumbledore, the headmaster of Hogwarts, from the Harry Potter game by Knight Models. And it's gonna look something like this if you follow this tutorial. This is a beautifully crafted model. It has a ton of details. Painting it is actually not that difficult. And to do so, we're gonna start with some demonette hide for the inner robes. There are many pictures of Albus Dumbledore to be found on the internet in many different clothing, and I just chose one that looked more or less like what he's wearing here. For the second layer, I mixed some Thunderhawk blue with Baden black because I wanted to have a dark, shadowy under layer before starting to highlight it with some brighter colors. There's basically two ways to go about this. You can start with the color you want and add some shadows with shading or darker mixtures in the recessed areas and start highlighting afterwards. I, for this model, chose to start with some dark base tones and highlight it, brighten it up. So by now you should have something like this, and you see the two colors on the robes. The sleeves I also did with the same Thunderhawk blue mixture. Now the hat I used Castellan green on as a base color. He has this bit of a weird fashion choice, also in colors. So yeah, this is one of the most worn hats he has in the movie. It's like a fez of sorts. Now the sleeves under the robes I painted with Storm Vermin fur, again mixed with Abaddon black, so we can highlight it later on. The face I chose a classic approach and used Bugman Glow, also on the hands of course. And next I used a mixture of Bugman Glow with Kislev Flesh for a first highlight stage. Just the raised areas, make sure to leave those dark Bugman taints in the folds in his skin. He has a very nice characteristic face, which is very well done in this model, so leave those shadows there. Next I started highlighting the Kislev Flesh mixture with Palette Witch Flesh and start brightening it up. And you can do this in 2, maybe 3 layers if you want, so build it up. The what's it called? The thing on the hat I used Baylor Brown on. Is it a thistle? Or I don't know what the English word is. Then we start highlighting, and the first highlight color I used is Warp Fiend Gray on the inner robes. It's a nice purple gray tone to brighten it up. You could probably also choose to add some Palette Witch Flesh to the original color, but I wanted to have some variation. And for this you can go fairly wide and touch larger surfaces, as we're going to be highlighting it furthermore in a later stage. So you can do this in again in 1-2 steps if you want, but it's a nice complementary color, so yeah, I think one would suffice. For the beard, make sure that it's still white in your primer color and use some Skeleton Horde to create some nice yellowy shades, because Dumbledore, he's an old man and he doesn't have white hair, he has yellow white hair. Next I used dried bark on the wizard's wand and his shoes. Next, I used Drakenhof Nightshade on the blue robes to create some shading effect. And we're going to be covering up the blue afterwards by dry brushing it with the same color. So you don't really see those wet shaded areas, but you have some nice color differentiation. I did the same with the inner robes with Carbro Crimson. And this adds a little red to the mix. I really like this, how this color turned out on the purple coats. Don't forget the arms. Next, I highlighted the fez with Strachan Green, which is a nice brighter variant and really picks up the hat. In the end, I added some gold details. I didn't film it, but you can see it in the end result. I added some gold details to the brim of the hat to make it look more interesting, because this is the centerpiece of the model, is the head, right? And this bright hat really stands out. So next I dry brushed the beard with Palette Witch Flesh to take back some of the whites and brighten it up just a little bit. Now I'm using some Abaddon black on the buttons on his coat. There are some on the purple parts on his chest and some around his waist. And the reason I'm doing this is that I want to have a shade behind my gold. I'm going to be painting them gold later on. And if you just add gold to the color, it kind of blends together, and I want them to stand out. So create some shade behind them. Next, touch only the top with Retribution Armor or any gold color you have. And you can see right here that you can still see the black shady bit around it. So they stand out just a little bit more and makes it a very nice detail. Next, I used some Thunderhawk blue as a first highlight on the outer robes. You could do some dry brushing if you want with the first mixture and then go over it with Thunderhawk blue, or go to this stage immediately if you want, because the color difference seems very bright, but in the end result it's not really that much. When it dries a bit darker. As a second highlight, I used Fenrisian Grey and just only touch the very rims of the robe and the parts that really catch the most light. You can do this as a pure layer, or do it as a shade if you want. Next, I used some Baneblade Brown on the wand and shoes to highlight that, and on the wand you can find some nooks and twists and twirls that you can accentuate, make it look more interesting. I then highlighted the well, I still don't know what it's called, the thing on the head with Seraphim Sepia, because it's a nice yellow complementary color, and afterwards you can either highlight it if you want. I left it in the original color. And last thing we're going to do is the base. I paint that with Steel Legion Drab, as I do with all my Harry Potter bases, because it looks like the floor of Hogwarts. Next, you wash it with Agrex Earthshade. Make sure to let it dry before you wash it, and let it dry afterwards before this final layer of Karak Stone. And just touch the very edges of the tile to make them pop out a little bit more. And you can add some cracks or whatever you want. And that's it for Albus Dumbledore. Look at him. I used a little dry brushing on the cloak and the arms to make those figures, those shapes a bit more interesting. And here's the final result. So I hope you liked it. Thank you so much for watching this movie again, this tutorial. And please consider subscribing to this channel if you want to keep posted for more movies I'm adding every week. And I want to thank you so much for watching, and hope to see you in one of my next videos. Bye bye!